Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about the power rankings. Shout out Zach Harper of The Athletic, and we'll be reacting to it. I'll show you guys, as you guys saw, how he did the tiers, his rankings. You'll see it through in the video. I'll throw screenshots. But let's get right into it. Let me hear your thoughts. Do you guys agree with some of these power rankings? Or are you guys against some of these power rankings? I'll give my takes with them. But let's get right into it. I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. And let's get right into today's video. Now, look, power rankings. As you guys know, there are 30 teams, and the power rankings are broken into 6 categories: contenders, on the brink of contention, playoff team, play-in tournament, looking to make the play-in, and we already know you're tanking, or the 6 categories. Now, the way he does it is, he said, for some teams, they'll be hit in the short term, others will be given the benefit for the long term, and he says, yes, this is entirely subjective. And let's get right into it. He says the number 1 team in the NBA, according to his power rankings, are the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, as you guys know, added Michael Green, Dante DiVincenzo, Patrick Baldwin, Ryan Rollins, Guy Santos. I guess they're going to stash him for a year. And this is a team that James Wiseman's returning. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody are going to take the next step. Andrew Wiggins looked amazing. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson both looked like they weren't over the hill and that they could be actual solid pieces for this team. And if DiVincenzo's knee is healthy, he'll be an excellent replacement for Payne as a very different role player, but able to be a defender. And the biggest key to this offseason is Thompson continuing to be healthy and how Draymond Green handles his extension talks. And I agree. Right now, I put the Golden State Warriors at 1. At 2, they put the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics got Danilo Gallinari and Brogdon, and they moved on from Daniel Tice and Aaron Nesmith. And, you know, obviously, are they still trying to get Kevin Durant? I doubt it. And I think he does bring up an interesting point. Will there be effects of the reporting continuing over the years of Jaylen Brown being dangled as a superstar and for superstar talent? And I don't think it'll affect him. I think he'll get even more hungry. But yeah, I agree. The top 2 teams right now, power rankings, are the Warriors and the Celtics. That's how it should be. At 3, he has the Phoenix Suns, and this is where I kind of don't agree with it. Damian Lee and Josh Okogie were their 2 big free agents. They lost Aaron Holiday and JaVale McGee. And look, the postseason was awful for them. Like, DeAndre Ayton did not seem like he wanted to come back. Okay? They'll get Dario Saric, and they brought back Bismack Biyombo. And this team's healthy, and they're a playoff team. I just don't know if they got better. I feel like they stagnated. So I don't know if I have them at 3. Like, the Milwaukee Bucks right here, I think, are better than the Phoenix Suns. They added Joe Ingles and MarJon Beauchamp, and I know that's not really a big deal. Ingles is coming off an ACL injury, and Beauchamp spent his time in the G League last year. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is awesome. Chris Middleton, assuming he heals from that wrist surgery, is healthy. Drew Holiday's awesome. They have the role players, but it's really Brook Lopez and Middleton need to stay healthy. They're integral to this team's success. The Miami Heat at 5. This is another team that I think might be too high. Nikola Jovic was their biggest addition this year, as they re-signed most of their guys except they lost PJ Tucker, and PJ Tucker left. And I'm actually making a Nikola Jovic video, and he's part of the reason why I was talking about it. Is this team is good, and plus, like the Suns, I feel like they kind of stagnated. They didn't make any huge moves. They lost players, and they didn't do much to bring it. Now, at 6, this is the start of brink of contention. And for me, I agree. 6 is the Grizzlies. I would actually have the Grizzlies on the same tier as the Suns and Heat. Okay, the top 3 teams are definitely the Celtics, Warriors, and Bucks. Then right behind them, I think it's the Grizzlies, Heat, and Suns. Because, like, look, the Grizzlies got David Roddy, Jake LaRavia, Kennedy Chandler, Kenneth Lofton, and Danny Green. DeAnthony Milton and Kyle Anderson are gone, which sucks. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for a few months with surgery. But people are expecting them to take a step back. But I think they'll be able to have, you know, a top 4 or top 5 record in the NBA. And Desmond Bane and Moran are both going to get better. And Tyus Jones, I think, with the money they're paying him, they're going to play him more. Now at 7, they have the 76ers, who DeAnthony Milton, PJ Tucker, Daniel House were the three of their acquisitions. DeAndre Jordan, Paul Millsap, and Danny Green left. And they had a great offseason. They got James Harden on a pay cut. They got Danny Green moved for DeAnthony Milton. PJ Tucker was a necessary pickup, and Daniel House is a good role player. And Joel Embiid is awesome. I think this is the best team they've had in years. 7's a good spot for them. I might even put them in front of the Suns. The Dallas Mavericks at 8. They got Christian Wood, JaVale McGee, and Jaden Hardy. They lost Jalen Bronson, Marquise Chris, and Boban Marjanovic. I actually think they got better. People act like losing Bronson was huge, but they brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, so it was to be expected. And Bronson was a great presence, but Wood has proved he can play good basketball, but now he has to prove that he can play winning basketball. And Jason Kidd's going to get the defense out of this squad, but I think people forget that Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be back. This team's going to be fully healthy. So I agree. I think the Mavericks got underratedly better. Now the Nuggets got rid of Will Barton, Monte Morris, JaMychal Green, and Austin Rivers. Turned that into Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Ismail Kamage. Well, Kamage, I think he's spending time in Europe. Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Ish Smith. And yeah, losing Tim Conley sucked, but getting KCP was huge. They needed that 3 and D, and they got themselves Ish Smith, who will be a safety net for Bones Highland if he, struggles. Then they brought in Bruce Brown. I also forgot to mention Bruce Brown was a big old addition. He'll be a great Swiss Army knife, and his cutting and slashing ability will be perfect for Nikola Jokic. And Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are going to be back. I think this Nuggets team, definitely a top 10 team in the NBA. At 10, they have the Atlanta Hawks, who Kevin Huerter, Danilo Gallinari, Kevin Knox, DeLon Wright, Gorgie Dang all left. DeJounte Murray, Mo Harkless, Justin Holiday, Aaron Holiday, AJ Griffin, and Frank Kaminsky, and Tyrese Martin were the additions. And I like this team. Yeah, losing Huerter and Gallinari will suck, but bringing in the Holiday brothers will be good for the perimeter rotation, 3 and D. And they just couldn't bring back the old squad. They needed to inject new blood and really build this team. So I like what the Hawks did. At 11, the Clippers. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein, but they brought in John Wall. And this team, they have them at 11, and I think the big question mark is everything has to do with the health of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. If they're healthy for the entirety of the season, they're a top 5 team for the season. Now, they can play anybody, and they can be contenders if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are healthy. But last few years, their lack of health / bad luck is difficult to outright believe, and they will. So I guess this is why they put them at 11. But I think they're definitely a top 10 team, just the question marks. Toronto at 12, they brought in Juancho Hernan-Gomez and Otto Porter. Is Isaac Bonga and Yuta Watanabe left? Watanabe was awesome, but, he got phased out. So, Bo Cruz and Otto Porter, Thad Young, Chris Boucher all return. This is an underappreciated team. They have the versatility defensively that nobody can match, especially on the perimeter. And Scotty Barnes is going to be a top 15 player. I like this. 12, yeah. It just comes down to we need to see if they'll be able to shoot and who's going to score off the bench. At 13, they have the Bulls, which they let Tristan Thompson walk and Troy Brown and added Goran Dragic, Andre Drummond, and Dalen Terry. And they got some depth in defense, arguably behind Nikola Vucevic. And Dragic is now added to a loaded backcourt. And they brought back Zach LaVine. Now, they need to find consistency defensively. And maybe with Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso fully healthy, that'll help. But the Bulls are super talented. They're a top 15 team in the NBA. And definitely a playoff team. They could even go into that contention team depending on how their defense plays out. They have the Timberwolves at 14, which I want to argue. I've fallen in love with the Rudy Gobert trade. They brought in Rudy Gobert, Kyle Anderson, Austin Rivers, Wendell Moore, Bryn Forbes, and Josh Minott. And they traded Pat Bev, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Leandro Balmaro, and Josh Okogie. Went to free agency to the Phoenix. And they took massive swings. They gave up a historical amount of draft capital. And Gobert, this is the number one defense, regular season defense. Obviously, the problems arise in the playoffs, and Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell on paper should win 50 games every year and at least get to the second round. And, it's interesting to see because what's going to happen? Is that going to be what happens for the next 3 straight seasons? I think it's a fun team. But yeah. At 15, they have the New Orleans Pelicans. This team, Dyson Daniels came in. They lost Tony Snell. They're kind of the same, but I think they're better because Zion's going to be healthy. Dyson Daniels is a multi-positional player. And I think this is a team, definitely a playoff team. At 16, they have the Brooklyn Nets. Goran Dragic, Drummond, and Bruce Brown left. They brought in Royce O'Neal and TJ Warren. And look, if they keep Durant and Kyrie, this team's good. I mean, is Ben Simmons going to return to form? We don't know, but there's a lot of questions, not many answers. They're a middle-tier team at 16. At 17, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Rondo's gone. Ed Davis is gone. They brought in Raul Neto, Ochai Agbaji. Shout out KU, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Robin Lopez, and Ricky Rubio. And bringing back Rubio is awesome. Lopez's depth. This team... Will they take the jump? Will older players continue to take the jump? And the reasons they struggled at the end of the year was they fizzled out because of injuries. So hopefully they can avoid that this year. At 18, the Lakers are going to be right here. They're looking like a team that could be right outside the play-in or avoiding. Well, they would be in the play-in. Lonnie Walker, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown, Damian Jones, Juan Toscano Anderson, Darvin Ham replaced Matt Leakman, Carmelo, Dwight Howard, Dwayne Ellington, Avery Bradley, Kent Bazemore, and Frank Vogel. And look, what's going to happen with Russell Westbrook? Their defense was terrible. Will LeBron and Davis be healthy? Or, Lonnie Walker, Troy Brown, and, Thomas Bryant good enough pickups? I mean, they're better talent than they had last year, but hopefully it works. At 19, they have Portland, the Trailblazers, Jeremy Grant, Gary Payne II, Shadon Sharp, and they lost Eric Bledsoe and Joe Ingles. I like this team. I think this team's better. I think they'll be a better defensive team, and I think they're underrated. I think they should be ranked higher. At 20, they have the Knicks, who got Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Trevor Keels, lost Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Kemba Walker, and Taj Gibson. This team definitely got better, but defensively, I don't know what's going to happen, even though Hartenstein's decent defense. Now, the Wizards at 21, Will Barton, Monte Morris, DeLon Wright, John Davis, and Taj Gibson. They lose KCP, Ish Smith, and Thomas Bryant. I like all these meals, and I think they're better. And on theory, if the team comes together really well and they stay healthy, this is a top 15 team in the NBA, not the 21st. Charlotte Hornets, Montrezl Harrell, Miles Bridges, and James Borrego are the 3 guys currently they lost. It's kind of ironic how 2 of their guys are facing felony charges. Mark Williams and Bryce McGowans were their draft picks with Steve Kiffler as their new head coach. This team is just a question mark. I don't even know. They're stuck in neutral. The Jazz are 23. Jared Vanderbilt, Pat Bev, Malik Beasley, Ballamaro, Walker Kessler, Will Hardy. Lost Rudy Gobert, Royce O'Neal, Eric Pascal, Daniel House, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Quinn Snyder. And I don't even know. I feel like this is way too high, but maybe they're just giving them the benefit that Donovan Mitchell's still on the roster. At 24, they have the Kings. All right. At 25, they have the Pistons. At 26, the Thunder. At 27, the Rockets. At 28, they have the Magic. At 29, they have the Pacers, and the worst team in the league, they have the Spurs. I want to hear your thoughts down below. That's it from me. Puppies out.